Hello, Monday morning, absolutely lashing with rain out there. Lashing with rain. And, it's a wonder we're not going to get flooded here. New members, Davey and Lee, welcome to both of you. Welcome aboard. Hope you enjoy the videos. Just finished off a DAC 90A there. That's that one that was smashed. Remember I showed you last week? Did I show you last week? Yeah, I did. All smashed up speaker, all pushed in, glass broken, etc. The Westminster hasn't turned up, you know, the big old Westminster radio. I've just had a Cosa 500, the Melody Maker, the 500 AC. I took the back off that. Absolutely, I haven't taken a picture of it, there's no point, you don't want to see rust. Absolutely rusted to bits. The valve bases falling apart. One of them, I had a look at it. The pins, the little connections, just all falling apart, corroded. It's just not worth it. It's such a shame. You know, back to the same old problem with rust and corrosion. Okay, I've got a cup of coffee. I'm hoping this rain's going to ease off a bit later. But, oh, what was I going to show you? Yes, have a look at this video. Here we are, this is interesting. BBC Radio 5 Live.
Between Junction 1, the M8, and Junction 6A,
okay.
Carry Junction.
Right, if I null that, the aerial's directional, null that transmitter out, you can hear another transmitter as well. And there's an echo. I don't know how clear that's going to be. There. What that is, there's more than one transmitter, and they're slightly out of phase. You know, the audio on them is slightly out of phase, so you get an echo when you're hearing them both. I just thought I'd show you that out of interest. Oh well, why not? Why not indeed? I remember years ago listening to the police when they were on what they on VHF. I can't remember where. They had up on the South Downs here. There were two, somewhere at the back of Brighton and somewhere over west of there. There were two transmitters, and you get the aerial. I had a sort of Yagi, like a beam aerial. You get it sort of between the two, and you could hear this phasing effect. It was really weird, but that's all gone now. Of course, can't listen to the police anymore. Never mind. I don't suppose it was legal anyway. Right, what's next? Let's see what's coming up next on the bench. This is a Defiant radio. There we are, quite nice. Cabinet's not bad, there's a bit of a mark there. I quite like Defiant. I don't know what the model number is because the back panel, this is homemade. What's that made out of? It looks like plastic. So it's some kind of wood. That's rather nice. It looks like it's was that homemade? Difficult to say anyway. I better look after that 'cause it's very thin and I think quite brittle. There's a serial number. I don't know what the model number is. What's this in here? That tells you what the valves are, but no model number, which is a shame. This is the chassis view of the Defiant. Nice mains transformer. What's this valve here? I don't. Oh, 6P. Yeah, they use funny valves. 6P25 or something. 6F15, 6C9. They're strange Mazda valves. There's no kind of equivalent. If you look up 6F15 or what was the other one I looked up earlier? I can't remember now. 10P something or other. There is no equivalent for these things, which is a bit of a pain. This one's very clean inside, which is nice. It's on the correct mains tapping, 236 to 255. Yeah, quite nice. The B8A valves, like the DAC 90A and the various other models that use those. Quite a nice big speaker in there. That's an 8-inch speaker. So not a bad radio. Anyway, that's the chassis at the back. The mains lead was cut off for some reason, so I had to join a bit on there. My test lead. Good to have lots of test leads hanging up in the workshop. Yeah, that's a 6P25 audio output there. I've just moved the camera up so you can see the speaker up there, the 8-inch speaker. Dial light bulbs are missing. There we are. I wonder why they're missing. I wonder why people take them out and dispose of them. Rather odd. So that's the Defiant model number something or other. I just watched the video. when I'm looking at here like that, I thought it's a good job I'm not going bald on top. Am I? Am I there? Can you see? No, I'm not. That's right. I've got plenty of hair. Right. I just happened to look at the video and I thought, oh dear, that won't do, will it? I have to wear a hat. Actually, a friend of mine, since he was about, 30 years old, he always wore a cap. And I hadn't seen him for a while. I said, you've got a cap on. And he said, yeah, look. And he took it off. He had no hair underneath, only a little bit round here, and he's only like 30. And he's worn a cap ever since. Anyway, moving on. That won't do, will it? Moving on. This is an estimate. So I've now established that the radio works. I'm just intrigued to see what this rectifier valve is. UU9. A UU9. I wonder if there's an equivalent. I have to look and see if there's an equivalent to that in a minute. I'm going to put this somewhere safe. Got another. Now don't look at my ball patch. No, I haven't got one. Another radio just come in. DAC 10. The chap. Here we are. Here we go. I mentioned this the other day. He's bought this with it. He phoned me, so I'll bring the radio. That's all right. He said, "Do you want 2 or 3 core twisted flex?" And I said, "Neither, actually." He said, "I want twisted flex." I said, "All right, 2 core." I don't know, whatever. I've just looked that valve up, UU9. Apparently it's an EZ40, which I've got some new ones of those somewhere over there. Yeah, EZ40. They're all 6.3 volt heater valves, which is good. They're just odd valves. They're odd Mazda ones. There we are. Just briefly, I'm not going to bore you with this. I was looking at an article this morning, some online website place I found. I was looking up something about DAB radio, which I haven't mentioned for years now. The reason I was looking up, I used to get a lot of calls. What's going to happen with the big DAB switchover? What will happen to my vintage radio, or even my little transistor radio? Will that not work anymore? When's the big switchover happening? I don't get any queries now, no questions about that whatsoever. Not one. I used to get perhaps 2 a week, some weeks three calls or emails about it. Now, nothing. I don't know why. Anyway, I was just happening to be looking online and I found an article, and it was saying, right, in my dining room I've got amplifier, cassette player, record deck, FM tuner, all this sort of stuff, the big speakers, all the hi-fi setup, all the separates as everyone used to have. Some people had a music centre where it was all in one. I've always liked the separates. And the article was saying that's all going now. That's all old hat, which I found a bit odd. So I read on. What it is, what with Spotify and iTunes and goodness knows what else, I don't know much about all that stuff. And also a lot of people have got their music on their computers, their phones, their iPads, their tablets. I must admit, I've got hundreds of CDs. I never listen to them because all my music I've got on the computer. So I will listen, what I can do is via Wi-Fi, I can listen to my computer music through the amplifier and the big speakers in the dining room. That's what I've always done. But apparently what they're doing now is, I hate to mention this B word again, but I just thought I'd bring this up. It's interesting. Most people now are just going for decent quality Bluetooth speakers, okay, because they've got decent amps, these Class D amps I was talking about the other week, and they're not having all this tuners and CD players and decks and amps and stuff everywhere. Just the Bluetooth speaker. Now you can get some really nice quality ones. So, and also of course you can move your speakers from room to room. You can't take all your hi-fi separates from room to room, what with all the leads and goodness knows what. It'll take you half the day to move it all. Listen to your music, then move it all back. So I just thought I'd mention that's the way it's going. Also, I'm getting inquiries about Spitfire transmitters for AM. They seem to be increasingly popular, of course, because you can put whatever audio into the Spitfire transmitter, then pick it up on medium wave on your vintage radio. You can look up Spitfire transmitter on online, you'll find it. Oh, hang on, is that John again? It's only a little box. And people are saying, can I what audio can you put in that? Can you kind of Bluetooth the Spitfire transmitter? It's all, I don't know. I'm not going to go on about this anymore, but it's all getting very interesting. I almost forgot the moral of the story with John turning up. It was to borrow my 19 set. I hope you're not going to go pirating, John. Yeah, it's under the table, yeah. Right, the moral of the story, I was literally looking up about DAB to see what's happening, to see why no one's asking me all these questions anymore. It's because, well, first of all, there doesn't seem to be a switchover date anymore. That all seems to have gone by the by. No one's bothered about that anymore. And also because people aren't worried about the switchover because they're doing this Bluetooth speaker stuff. On your phone, you've got tens of thousands of radio stations from around the world, or your iPad or whatever. You've got your music, you've got Spotify, your own music, you've got other music. There's so much stuff on your phone that people aren't now worrying about, oh, I better get a DAB radio. Have I got a radio with FM on because it's, you know, I want a bit of quality and all this stuff. When's medium wave closing down? That all seems to have gone by the way, so there we are. But of course it won't affect us. No, it doesn't matter what they do, it won't affect us because we've got the Spitfire transmitter, and there are other good transmitters available from good outlets. I have to say that, don't you? So I get done. So yes, I just found it interesting, but this is why I'm not getting all these questions about DAB anymore. The whole thing seems to have been forgotten. Oh, and there was something that John was telling me just now about Ofcom. Something about, oh, what was it? Oh, he won't talk on camera. Ofcom now aren't promoting DAB so much. It's all going over to internet radio. So anyway, there we are. That's the Defiant. I shall have a look underneath. Is there a bottom cover? Oh, there's bits rattling. Hello. Someone's put a bit of hardboard on the bottom. Shall we have a look in there? Well, this is quite good. What's all this? Is this? Oh, it's just sort of bits of corrosion on the chassis. There we are. Wave change switch. These resistors have bubbled a bit. Have they been getting warm? I've unplugged it, haven't I? Yes, I have. Yeah, all quite nice. Quite nicely laid out down there. Some wax capacitors. That one's, you know, I've had it running for a while. That one's warm. If you find a wax capacitor that's warm, it's leaking. It's passing current and it shouldn't. There's up the top, another waxy. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's been touched in its time. There are no components that have been replaced that I can see. Quite a nice layout, very easy to work on. There are slots in the pot so you can spray switch cleaner in there, which is good. Yeah, quite a nice radio. Yeah, the bottom cover is homemade. It's just a piece of hardboard. So that does point to the back also being homemade. So there we are, that's the Defiant. Luckily the speaker cloth's in nice condition. This chap, he lives abroad. I don't know where. He said, let's move this. He said he remembers this from when he was a child. His mother, what was he said, 7:05 in the evening, the Archers. His mother would turn this on and listen to the Archers. That's why he wants to, there's the hardball bottom. That's why he wants it all up and running again. It's got sort of sentimental value. So that's that. John's gone now. I just had a quick chat with him. He's taken my 19 set. I don't know what he's going to do with it. He's trying something out on top band. That's the 160 meter amateur band. I said if he gets it going, I haven't got a power supply for it, but he has. I said to give me a call on top band this evening. So that's 1980 kilohertz, if anyone's listening. 1980 kilohertz, that's the top band, 160 meter amateur band. 19 sets AM, so I should be on there AM 7 o'clock this evening. Of course, by the time you see this, it'll be a week ago. So whenever. No, actually, today's Tuesday, and it's lovely weather. We've got sunshine, and it's really nice weather. So after all that horrendous rain, it's cheered up a bit, and the evenings are beginning to get a little bit lighter. Right, you don't want a weather forecast, do you, or anything like that? So let's carry on. Stay tuned. Just going to have another look at the Kosa 500 Melody Maker. I've taken the chassis out the radio itself is so rusty. I've taken the chassis out just to have a closer look at this just before I contact the bloke. Sorry, the customer. All the valves have had it. Have a look at the video clip first and then I'll tell you about it. I don't know how clear this is going to be on the camera, but these here, these are falling apart. You see these here, the things, the pins. There's one there that's come off. That's missing. It's the rust. You can see. Look at the rust here. Dreadful rust. The tuning gang, rust on the back there. Chassis covered. The drum there for the drive cord, rust on the, corrosion on the smoothing capacitor there. Transformer, it was on the 215 volt tap, so that wouldn't have done anything any good. This is full of damp. It's such a shame, it's just been left in a shed or something. Probably not too clear, but the rust is in here. Everything's just been covered in rust and corrosion and damp. It is such a shame. This there's an example there, red rust on there. The lettering on here, on the glass, there's lettering here. This has all come off with the damp, and there's another view of the chassis. Even the valves, how clear this will be. Can you see all this green here? This green corrosion. The damp has just got into. It's just got everywhere, the damp, and just completely ruined the radio. I haven't looked at the speaker. I would imagine that that's ruined as well. What's happened is, it's as I said, it's been on the lowest voltage tap. It's been well overrun. The valves have all had it. As you can see, the rust, the corrosion, it's just such a shame. The radio's ruined. It's just totally ruined. Even the controls, the pots, totally seized up. You can't turn the spindles because of rust. The wave change switch, the tuning just about moves. It's a write-off, unfortunately. The cost involved in spending goodness knows how many tens of hours on this, it's just not worth it. It's such a shame. And the speaker has had it. The damp's got into the voice coil. The cone's rusted inside where the coil is, and it's just jammed solid. Okay, it's the end of the week. I got the Westminster in at last. I don't know whether there'll be time to show you this one. It's my light isn't switched on. Yeah, I might have a look at that. Might put it on next week's. Here's a green cabinet. Remember Ron down under in Australia is having these cabinets made. He's going to manufacture his own Tesla style looking radios. Here's a green one. There we are. That looks rather good. This is amazing effort by Ron. Hi Ron, if you're watching. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's all. I wish we lived a bit close. I can't really nip out to Australia, can I? Well, I bet Ron would say, of course you can. You've got Gatwick Airport just up the road. Yeah, okay. Maybe if I win the lottery or something. Right, Alan. Hello, Alan, if you're watching. Alan sent me a link. The Spitfire transmitter? Well, Alan sent me a link. There's now a Mosquito transmitter. Same chap that's building them. But he's called this one the Mosquito. And it is 1 watt. What was the other one? 100 milliwatts, wasn't it? There's a picture of it. There we are, look at that. A 1 watt medium wave transmitter. Totally illegal if you want to use it in this country, but I don't think we're bothered about that too much. Well, that's up to you. I think was it made for the Netherlands and somewhere else. So have a look on the internet, look it up, the Mosquito, and you'll find it. And he's got all the information there about it. I think it's 80, was it £85? I can't remember, I did look it up. So I don't know, one of these days I might have to look into that. Yeah, build a little linear amplifier for that, perhaps 10 watts. There we are. What am I saying? Okay, I've got some notes here, which I think I've dealt with, the cabinet, the transmitter. Yeah, the Westminster, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I'll fire it up and see what it does. I've only just this minute put it on the bench. It just started raining, that's nice, and it's going to be a wet weekend. I just checked the forecast. Apparently the whole weekend is going to be a total washout.
Exhibition
it works
tonight, and that performance should guarantee a sellout crowd. Elsewhere in sport, England's Tommy
got a lot of
successfully retained Abu Dhabi
crackling and buzzing,
title, the Spanish prodigy John.
but it works. Right, as it's Friday and it's raining, I'm going to finish. We'll have a look at this on Monday, I think. This is going to sit here on the bench over the weekend. So we'll have a look on Monday, see what's what. It's only an estimate, of course. Just waiting to hear about the DAC-10, the Defiant. So probably end the radio here. It's the end of the week. End the video here. I'll have a quick think as usual. That's it, no more notes, so I shall call it a day. It's only, where are we? It's only Friday lunchtime, but I shall call it a day. I've got a few things. What I was hoping to do this weekend was get out into the garden and do 1 or 2 jobs. Not least put up another aerial, just a wire aerial for something. But there we are, that might have to wait till next week. Right, well, I'll see you Monday morning. This will still be here. Thanks for watching as always. Bye bye.